What do you see when you look at this? We will give you a moment to digest the image. Let us know what you think this is in the comment section. But the crazy thing is that whatever you probably think this is, you are 50% right. That is why this image, still remains one of the biggest anomalies ever found in the Baltic Sea. The Baltic Sea anomaly was first discovered in June 2011 by a Swedish diving team, OceanX. It was actually found by mistake because they were originally looking for sunken treasures. In such, they were about to call it quits after being at sea for 5 days with no luck or treasure. That is until their sonar picked up something blurry and interesting on the ocean floor. It looked unnatural, and something they had never seen before, which piqued their interest. Being treasure hunters and curious human beings, they wanted to see what the sonar found, and that's when they saw it, the anomaly. They reported that the object was circular and about 200 feet in diameter. At first, they assumed it was man-made because of its metallic structure with a rounded top. But the more they looked at it, the more such assumption reduced. The team explored this anomaly, and they saw it to be a large, rounded object with smooth edges, as well as parts of ideal geometric shape and right angles that nature could hardly make. As soon as the OceanX team got back from the expedition, they went straight to the artist Hauke Wacht and asked him to draw an image that looked more real, using the image from their sonar as a source. They wanted to fully capture what they saw since there was no picture, and all they had was just one lousy, blurry image.
This is something I want to find out why it looks like this.
To this day, this drawing is thought to be the most accurate representation of what they found. It looks exciting, even though it doesn't show how big the object is. The stone disc is 60 meters wide and 75 meters long. For reference, it looks like 3 tennis courts when you look closely at the stone block. From the image, we see it has features that look like ramps and stairs. In some parts of the building, the angles are correct and clearly equal to 90 degrees, and the shape of the object is strangely regular. When the artist's image was released, it instantly became viral, gathering everyone's attention. In a radio interview, Peter Lindbergh, the team leader of the expedition, talked about what the team saw in more depth. It has these very strange stair formations, and if it is constructed, it must have been constructed tens of thousands of years ago before the Ice Age. That statement opened a can of worms and supported the theory that the anomaly found could be a relic of a lost civilization. Lindbergh agrees that the anomaly could be a natural formation, such as a meteorite that penetrated the ice during the Ice Age. Scientists from Stockholm University, such as Goran Ekberg of the Maritime Museum, even supported this theory that the Baltic Sea anomaly is made up of leftovers from the glacial thawing process. You see, the northern Baltic area is heavily affected by glacial thawing processes, which is just big words for saying how ice melts, which has gotten way worse thanks to global warming, but story for another day. Scientists believe what was found in both the feature and the rock samples are likely to have formed during and after glacial periods dating thousands of years.
My best interpretation is that glaciers have transported it there.
What this also means is that what OceanX found could be the remains of an ancient civilization, like a temple, a monument that has sunk, or some other kind of man-made building. Take, for example, Hyperborea, another lost city. The old people of Hyperborea were known to build a city that was lost to time, similar to Atlantis. But unlike Atlantis, there is proof in the form of a map from the 1600s by the Flemish geographer Gerardus Mercator, showing that Hyperboreum did exist near where the North Pole is located now. According to one of the most likely stories, a big asteroid hit Earth about 11,000 years ago. This caused a huge climate change in the form of a tsunami that could have flooded Hyperborea and carried pieces of its buildings to the modern Baltic Sea. In 1985, divers found another flooded city that looked a lot like the Baltic anomaly. Asahiko Arakawa, a Japanese diver, was sent to the bottom of the ocean off the small island of Yonaguni, where he saw a sunken city. Asahiko suddenly felt like he was in some kind of a parallel world. There was a real city around him with a castle, a stadium-like building, a pool, as well as a rock in the shape of a turtle, and even a pyramid. Underwater caves stalactites were found, which apparently sank along with this mysterious city. Scientists examined these mineral deposits to determine their age, and it turned out that the city was built at least 5,000 years ago. But Teraaki Ishii, a professor of geology, believes this stone structure is even much older and determined that the submergence of the so-called terraces of the structure occurred at the end of the last ice age, which was about 10,000 years ago, which is almost the same thing Lindbergh said about the anomaly. This could mean that the anomaly could in fact be a piece of a lost civilization. But there was just one problem. Normal rock formation or glacial deposits don't act like electromagnetic interference or EMI. You see, after the artist drew a realistic image of what the anomaly was, a lot of people, experts to be precise, rebutted the image. They thought the picture of the anomaly drawn by Ocean X was influenced.
Buckle up, Star Wars nerds. You're gonna like this one.
What can only be described as the wreckage of a crashed spaceship.
Once again, let us ask you, what does this image resemble but from the Star Wars universe? If you are a Star Wars nerd and fan, you would immediately say the Millennium Falcon. There is a name for this in psychology called associative memory. Some might even call it false memory. You see, when you are given something you've never seen before, your brain actively works overtime to find something you've experienced to give meaning to what you just saw, and that could have influenced the artist when drawing. The strange object in the Baltic Sea became more mysterious because there weren't many real pictures of it. Interestingly, the only original picture that exists is a low-resolution sonar scan that was taken when it was first found. After that first scan, all pictures seen in the media and online forums are either improved versions, computer-made interpretations, or artistic interpretations based on that scan. Because there isn't a lot of real, high-quality imagery of the Baltic Sea anomaly, many scientists were cautious about talking about it. Some even suggested that it was smart for Ocean X to ask the artist to draw a picture of the find and make it good-looking for tourist/monetary reasons. It would raise their profile, and high-ranking people in society with enough money would more than likely patronize them to see a real-life Millennium Falcon. In other words, don't trust Ocean X. This pissed off Ocean X so much. It's one thing to not believe the theory, but to question their ethics was too much of a pill to swallow. This was the same Ocean X that got the first video of a giant squid ever seen in US waters, the first to use a submarine to tag a deep-sea shark, and was the same Ocean X that was used to find the pieces of an Airbus A330 passenger plane that crashed in 2009. The plane was found at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. You might question their theory, but certainly not their authenticity. So, the next year, they prepared very well and went back to the same place where they found the anomaly with more than enough equipment and better research tools. Now this is where things got interesting, and why the theory of a normal rock formation was thrown out the window. As they got within 200 meters of the anomaly, all their electrical equipment stopped working. Stefan Hagerborn, one of the divers, said when they were above the object, "Everything electric out there stopped working, including the satellite phone." They went back about 200 meters and everything came on, came back to the anomaly again, and everything went off. Now this was looking more like an alien ship that crash-landed into the sea than a rock formation. You know how one thing happens to you, and you start seeing things differently? That began to happen for Ocean X. The anomaly has all the hallmarks of a UFO, the strange shape, the reports of electrical problems near it, and the fact that there doesn't seem to be a good natural explanation for its existence or current form. One intriguing theory from UFO believers is that it could be a spacecraft that was used to escape a cataclysm or a war that happened on their planet 100,000 years ago. A decade ago, we might have laughed at these people, but not anymore. Earlier this year, 3 former military officials told the US Congress that they know the government knows a lot more about UFOs than it is telling the public.
3 now retired US military officials have given testimony under oath in US Congress talking about what they say were their experiences with unidentified flying objects or UFOs.
David Grush, a former US intelligence agent, said that he is absolutely sure that the federal government has UAPs. He backed this up by saying that he talked to 40 witnesses over the course of 4 years.
This is an approximation based off of my personal experience speaking with a number of pilots, but I would estimate we're somewhere near 5% reporting perhaps.
So this could just be another fallen UFO ship. That is until Nazis. During World War II, the Germans performed a lot of experiments to gain an edge on the battlefield. Nazi Germany and the Allied powers fought a fierce battle for control of the Baltic Sea during the Second World War. The Allies kept trying to blockade Europe, so Germany could not get important shipments of iron ore from Sweden and other places. Germany had no other way to get to the sea that the Allies couldn't quickly attack. The Baltic Sea was all they had, and they protected it with everything they got. We've lost count of the exact number of sea mines that were set off in the area during WE. It was more than 1,000. There are beliefs that the Germans, who were always eager to make and try new technologies, built structures underwater and used experimental devices to jam radio signals to stop the Allies from talking to each other. And because of such thoughts, some people think that the Baltic Sea anomaly could be a leftover from these defenses, which would certainly explain how it affected the electrical equipment. There is proof that Nazi experts worked hard to create cutting-edge weapons technology. They were actually some of the first people to make and use long-range weapons and jet fighters. And who knows, one of those advanced technologies could be one that makes them create UFO-like planes. So which is it? Nature, UFO, or Nazis? Now you see why this is one of the biggest anomalies of the Baltic Sea. The Ocean X team, being stumped, took samples of rocks around the anomaly with them to go study. Geologists and other experts have looked at samples that were brought back from the anomaly in the Baltic Sea. They found that the object is made of sandstone, gneisses, basalt, and granites. It was strange to see these kinds of rocks in this part of the ocean, but they do happen sometimes. In this part of the world, glaciers have moved millions of tons of rocks to the ocean floor from where they used to be. The runway or stairs-looking thing seems to be made by glaciers moving. As glaciers move, they make deep cracks in the rock. This is known as the glacial process of weathering or freeze-thaw, weathering. This is when the snow melts and water gets into the rock cracks. When it freezes, the water in the crack grows, making the crack bigger. The process is continued until the rock is broken. That is what experts believe happened to the anomaly. The area around and in the Baltic Sea has a long history of glaciers. Most scientists agree that the anomaly is where it is now, because glaciers pushed and placed it there, and the fact that it's round is just a coincidence. Over the years, glaciers have moved and shaped billions of rocks, so by the laws of probability, one of them must look like a UFO. Either way, nothing of the anomaly shows the presence of an alien or is even part of a lost civilization. If this was the case, this video would have ended here, with us telling you to subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. But that conclusion was not good enough to convince the Ocean X team, and was not good enough for us. In such strange things started happening to the members of Ocean X who went on the expedition. They started experiencing migraines and fevers. According to the researchers themselves, they said they felt like they were being warmed up in a giant microwave. This was a month after the expedition. To top it off, they were ordered by no one other than the government to stop after only 2 dives, which makes it all the more suspicious that this wasn't just a normal rock found at sea. Anytime the government gets involved in a finding, you definitely know something else is going on. As of now, no expedition has been carried out by anyone because of that order, and we don't for certain know what was found. Which begs to question, what was found? We mean the real thing and not what we were told. What is the Baltic Sea anomaly? And why did it get the government so worried that they put a total ban on future expeditions? So many questions left unanswered. For now, all we know about the Baltic Sea anomaly is that we know nothing.